Memphis, 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 Memphis. Nothing but Memphis.
Nothing but Memphis Showboats right here on the Captain's Log. I'm your host, Brandon, aka the Captain. Good to be back with you guys another week talking Showboats football, talking United Football League. 26 days away. That's it. 26 days away from seeing football on our television screens again. Are you excited? Let's go, man. I am so excited about this. Another week, another round of things that have happened, some stuff to get to. So, you know how we do it, guys. Let's get right into it. So, we've seen some transactions. Actually, first, before we get to the transactions, let's talk about the media team. Okay. The social media team has just been on fire this training camp so far. The guys have only been there for about a week. They just finished up their first week. And even though everybody's in Arlington, the social team on the Instagram, on the TikTok, on the Twitter, Facebook, they're trying to make us feel like we're there with the team in Arlington, man. Everybody, every team, you can kind of see some vibes. You can kind of see some good stuff out of all the teams. It's just awesome. Good stuff all around. Kudos to the social team. We would be absolutely starving out here for content if it wasn't for them. So shout out to those guys, man. Absolutely love it. Oh man, where's the ticker? Where's the ticker, guys? I did that one episode before I had no ticker. I was so sad. Got the ticker going. You know what to do. Follow your boy on the socials. Get your Yacht Club merch on Vintage Varsity 901. You know the deal. So today's show, man, we're talking training camp and roster cuts. Okay. But before we get into that, let's talk a little bit about the latest transactions for the boats. Not much going on. We just swapped out a running back. It seems like we swapped out, we waived running back Kennedy Brooks from Oklahoma, and we signed running back Titus Swin from the University of Wyoming. Unsure why Kennedy was released. I know following his Instagram and his socials, he's become like a very successful real estate agent, it appears. We saw him on some of the social clips a week ago, back when training camp started. So that kind of goes to another point I've got, guys. Like, what we see on social does not matter. Okay. The social team, they are just recording guys. They're just trying to get good content for us. They don't know who's going to get cut. They don't know who's going to get signed until it happens, you know. So they may feature a guy like Kennedy, who we saw featured on a couple clips last week when training camp started, and now he has been waived. So just kind of goes to show that we can't read too much into it, as much as I love to read into it. Okay. I love reading into it. I love coming up with stupid conspiracy theories that'll probably never happen, but it's because your boy's bored, man. There's no football on. There's no football to talk about. So we're talking about what we can, and what we can talk about is Titus Swin, new running back for the Boats. Let me pull this up real quick for you guys so you can check him out real quick. If you were following me on Twitter, you probably would have seen this by now, but check out the boy over here, Titus Swin. Okay, Titus Swin is out of Wyoming, like I said. He finished his career at Wyoming averaging 5 yards a carry, 2,161 yards, and 16 touchdowns. I do believe he's top 10 all time in Wyoming rushing history, so kudos to him. You can see he's got some breakaway speed here on this long run. Shout out to number 8 right there with the hustle. Shout out to the hustle. Okay. The dude was able to get down there and stop Titus from unfortunately scoring a touchdown on this play, but just wanted to show you guys that real quick. Titus Swin looks like he's got some potential. I'm sure we're going to see more names be cycled out and more names coming in as training camp keeps going. You're always going to keep another guy around, like kind of in the running back room. Just camp bodies. Unfortunately, it is what it is. The NFL does it all the time. They'll bring in dudes for camp to give their starters some rest while the starters are getting mental reps. You've got these guys out there helping other guys like their drafted rookies and so on and so forth get other reps against guys that they might not really be planning on signing. But these camp bodies, if they do well enough, they can pole vault themselves onto the active roster, onto the practice squad. So, you know, it is what it is, man. We got Titus Swin. One thing I wanted to talk about with Titus, it seems like he had a little bit of a scuffle when he was at Wyoming. Um, he was released from the team before their bowl game, and nobody really said why. The coach didn't say why. The coach and Titus both were pretty humble about it, pretty amicable split, it seems like. I believe Titus was quoted as saying, Wyoming just ain't for me. He said something like that. The coach said he just wasn't meeting the criteria to be a Wyoming Cowboy, whatever that means. Titus said that it just wasn't for him. Mutual split. He spent some time with the Colts, about 9 days before he was released there. So good to see Titus getting another shot with us. So let's get into the bulk of the show here, the meaty part of the show, what we all came to see. Um, we've got scrimmages coming up tomorrow through the 8th. I'm not sure when the Showboats scrimmage is going to be, but right after that, this time next week, we will see our first batch of roster cuts on March 10th. So these scrimmages are going to be a good way for the teams to look at their guys, see what they got, make some cuts, probably make some signings of other dudes that got cut from other teams. So let's go ahead and get into it, man. This is going to be our current roster at the time of filming right now. Okay. I'm filming March 4th, 2024, 1:30. All right. The roster report hasn't come out yet. The UFL PR tweet hasn't come out yet. So don't kill me. Some names on this list will change, but I think the numbers will stay the same. I think we're going to stay consistent we've got 4 running backs. I think if we waive a running back, we're going to do just like we did and bring in another running back. So we're mostly going off the numbers here. So first up, we got quarterbacks. Case Cookis, Cole Kelly, Troy Williams. You got to keep 3 quarterbacks. No cuts happening there unless, God forbid, one of the guys gets injured. Hope none of them gets injured. I'm so excited about this quarterback room. Case Cookis, I'm assuming is QB1, but Case has been injury prone in the past. The dude is a wild animal out there. Okay, he'll run for his life, and he'll take a hit as well. Okay, Case ain't got no problem taking some hits. He's got no problem putting his body on the line for his team. Excuse me. So something to kind of watch out for with Case. That's why I'm really excited. We have 2 stud backups with Cole Kelly and Troy Williams. Cole was with the team last year. Troy Williams is a USFL championship quarterback. He did not win the championship, but he took his team to the championship. So he's got some pedigree there. Very athletic Troy. Cole Kelly, this whole room is really kind of a mobile quarterback room. Case Cookis kind of gets slept on. He's had 2 USFL seasons. He's put up almost 500 rushing yards over those 2 seasons. He's got like a 74-yard touchdown run. So, Case has some wheels. Cole, he's 6'7". He's going to be hard to bring him down. He can extend plays. And Troy Williams is just an athlete, man. He's a stud. He can play from the pocket, which he really wants to, but if he needs to, he can get out of trouble and extend a play. So moving on to our running back room here, we've got Darius Victor, Trey Williams, Titus Swin, and Kareth White. Probably going to bring in 3 running backs here, running back by committee. I do believe, unfortunately, that Titus might be our camp body. Kareth White was with the team last year. Darius and Trey are 2 proven spring league veterans. I think just kind of a curse of familiarity there for Titus. Hopefully he can prove me wrong and he can ball out in camp and ball out at the scrimmages and earn that spot. But I think we're going to see 1 cut to the running back room here. We're going to see 25 cuts total. This is me cutting to get down to 50. Okay. I'm not going to cut too many players per se because I'm not a coach. I don't know what these guys are looking for. I don't want to get anyone's feelings hurt. I love all these dudes. I wish we could all bring them all in with us to the season, but that's just not how it works. Moving on to the wide receiver room, stacked wide receiver room. We've got 10 wide receivers. Feel like we're going to cut it down to about 7 wide receivers here. Should see 3 cuts. I'll tell you a couple guys I think that are definitely a shoe-in for the team. That'll be Jonathan Big Play J. Adams over there making that sick catch from season 1, man. I'll never forget that catch. I was covering the Tampa Bay Bandits at the time, and I've seen Jay Adams terrorize my team for the past couple years now. And I've said it before, I said it again. I'm glad he's going to be on our side to be terrorizing other opponents' defensive backs. So I think Big Play Jay, he's definitely a shoe-in to make the squad. Vinny Papali, he's a fan favorite, yacht club favorite, slot ninja. The dude is always there for a quarterback, basically becomes the quarterback's best friend, real security blanket type of guy, sneaky athletic, crafty athlete, all those fun things we say about the white receivers. I think Vinny's a shoe-in. I think DeAndre Overton, who we drafted from the Stars, him and Case Cookis have a connection. Feels like DeAndre will be on there. Derek Dillon, that's Mr. 109. He's our kick returner, punt returner. So the versatility there kind of makes him a shoe-in, I believe. The rest of the guys, Josh Van, Lee Morris, D. Anderson, Ryan McDaniel, David Davis. I'm not sure. I could tell you who I would prefer, but it don't matter what I prefer. It's about what the coaches see on the film, and all I could do is put my faith in Coach Flip, put my faith in Coach Doug Martin, TJ Vernieri, all the boys. They're smarter than me. They'll make the right choice. They'll get the best players on the field. Moving on to the tight end room, we have 5 tight ends right now. Cannot see us bringing 5 tight ends into the season, let alone 3, really. I see about 2 tight ends here. Coach Flip wants to air that ball out. Air raid offense kind of situation, West Coast offense, I'm sorry. So I think we'll keep 2 tight ends here. Sage Surratt is a shoe-in. Coach Flip brought him over for a reason. The dude has been dominant every year he's played in spring football, damn near. So definitely should see Sage on the opening week roster. And then after that, it's a battle, man. It's a battle. We've got newly signed Dominique Daphne, newly drafted Wes Saxton Jr., Michael Ezekike. I believe I'm pronouncing that right, Michael, out of UCLA. I hope I am. He was a Showboats draft pick last year in the USFL. So it'd be cool to see him make the roster as one of our draft picks. And then a guy I'm a big fan of. We had him last year, J.J. Wilson, the polar bear. The dude does it all, man. He plays fullback. He plays special teams. He's got a fumble on special teams. The dude is a utility weapon, okay? I think his versatility might give him an edge up, his familiarity with the team, which is it's kind of hard. It's kind of hard, ain't it? Trying to be like, well, this guy was here last year. You would think that kind of gives him a head up on the guys that weren't here last year. But we got to keep in mind, we got a brand new offensive side of the ball, brand new offensive coaches. The only coach we kept from the Todd Haley Showboats is Carnell Lake on defense. So can't say Carnell's going to have much say in the offense, okay? That's going to be a Coach Flip, Coach Doug Martin. This tight end room specifically, that's a TJ Vernieri special right there. Shout out the boy TJ. He got some love from Coach Flip and on an interview that he did. He had some media availability, and he did an interview with Pat Ruffino, Analyze and Educate on YouTube, man. Good interview. Go check it out. Moving on to the offensive line. I don't know nothing about O-line, guys. I'm sorry. I don't know nothing. All I want to know is we've got the 5 best ones starting when it comes to week 1. So going through here, we've got 7 tackles. We've got 5 guards and 3 centers. Gives about 6 cuts here. Okay, 6 cuts. I think we'll be going into camp with about 4 tackles, 2 centers, and then probably 3 guards, something like that. So it sucks, man. I want all the offensive line depth. Dudes get hurt. It's easy to get hurt on that offensive line. Dudes get rolled up on all the time, and you lose a couple key pieces on that O line, your season's pretty much done for. So on the offensive line, on the tackle side, you got to think for sure we're keeping Jerron Jones, all USFL, one of the only guys to win all USFL 2 years in a row. For the USFL, we've got Terry Poole as well, another all USFL guy at one point. We've got Darren Paolo. He was with the Bandits back in USFL season 1. He went on to play for the Lions, mostly on the practice squad all last year. Sidney Wells, James Tunstall. James Tunstall is a recent signing out of Cincinnati. Dartley and Clayton Bradley. So the top two, Jerron Jones and Terry Poole, got a good feeling those two are going to be our starting tackles. The center position, we've got Alec Lindstrom, Jared Thomas, and Jordan McCray. Jared Thomas was drafted, so I got to assume he was from the XFL side, I do believe, all XFL center. I do believe he's going to probably make the roster as well as Alec Lindstrom if Alec doesn't get injured or stays healthy. You know, if nothing crazy happens to Alec, I think Alec is a young up and coming center that a young up and coming offensive lineman that is perfect for the UFL. You know, he probably needs another year of development, get him under some good coaches, and he'll be right back in the NFL. He was with the Cowboys most recently with them. Moving on to the guards, we've got Kurt Kelly, Tyrone Prescott, Chance Little, Tyron Hunt, and Lika Uhatafe. That's going to be a tough one. I think we'll keep about 3 guards over here. Kurt Kelly was with Flip in New Orleans, so you got to think he's definitely got a leg up there. Chance Little's an interesting one, man. They've been showing him a lot on the socials, mostly because he's so damn photogenic. Okay, the dude's got luscious locks, looks like a walking Head and Shoulders commercial, looks like Troy Polamalu should be on his shoulder, giving him a little life advice and stuff like that. Came out of Duke football, opera singer, if you didn't know. Pretty cool. Tyrone Prescott was with the Showboats last year. Tyron Hunt was also with the squad last year for a couple of weeks. I believe he was a late addition to the team. And Uhatafe was also with the Breakers last year. So interesting to see who will come out of that room as our starting 5 offensive line. But I think we have enough talent here that we should have a decent offensive line. I don't think we're going to be a top 2, top 3 offensive line, but as long as we're middle of the pack offensive line and Coach Flip can scheme us up some good stuff, get the run game going, get some play action going. We got Darius Victor back there, run some people over, wear them down. I think we're in for a good offensive line. So moving on to the next room, we've got our defensive line. So defensive line had to get the picture of Big John Atkins over there, the peanut butter and jelly loving SOB SWAT machine out there. You know, everybody remembers that one week he swatted down about 5-6 passes at the line. Absolute stud, all USFL guy. If we don't keep him, I don't know what we're doing. But this is Carnell Lake's side of the ball now, so you got to assume the guys he's familiar with that can still play very well at a high level are going to stick around. I believe John Atkins is definitely one of those guys. I think we'll see about 2 cuts from this room. You know, you got guys like Connor Christian, who was drafted. You've got Josiah Bronson, who was a free agent signing. Dalen Mack and Dylan Famatau were both with the team last year, as well as Jeremiah Valoaga. And PJ Hall is a new addition. PJ Hall is interesting, man. He might stick around, but he's kind of an older guy, older veteran in the NFL, been around a while. I believe he was a first-round draft pick by the Raiders, if I'm not mistaken. But going to be interesting to see who sticks out of this room. We only run 1 defensive tackle most of the time, maybe 2. You know, Carnell kind of runs that 3-4 system with a bunch of edge guys, linebackers out there, a couple big boys in the middle, and this man right here, John Atkins, fits that bill to a T. So as long as we got John out there, you line up a couple guys, a couple extra dogs next to him, John's going to eat. All right. Moving on to the edge rushers. feel like we'll see about 3 cuts here. All right, we've got Colin Hill, who was drafted, Greg Reeves and Jeff McCulloch, who are returning. Jordan Brailford was with the Breakers last year with Coach Flip. Max Roberts is an XFL guy. Kazeen Daniels, Jordan Ferguson were both with the squad last year. And Tyshawn Render was a New Jersey General, I do believe, also a drafted guy. You got to think we're keeping the studs, Greg Reeves and Jeff McCulloch. Okay, those guys I think they accounted for, I want to say about 5 or 6 sacks last year between the two of them. Always getting pressure on the quarterback. Jeff is kind of like that vocal leader of the defense, always running the mouth, always talking that talk, backing it up with his play. It's going to be fun to see him and Vontae Diggs on that defensive side of the ball, going at the offense, playing mind games with them, getting them out of their zone. But like I said, about 3 cuts here. I think Greg Reeves and Jeff McCulloch are shoo-ins to stick around. Jordan Brailford, he's got that Coach Flip connection. Coach Flip obviously likes him. Probably my top 3 definitely sticking around, guys. The rest, hey, boys, battle it out. Moving on to the linebackers. Talked about him a little bit before. Vontae Diggs. All right, Diggsy. New Orleans Breakers legend. After him, we got TJ Neal with the team last year, as well as Malik Lawal and Anthony Butler. 2 new additions in Shaheed Salmon, who was also a Breaker last year with Vontae, and Dylan Moses out of Alabama. 2 cuts here. Probably keep about 4 of these guys. Vontae Diggs is a shoe-in. I feel like TJ Neal, and Anthony Butler. Anthony and TJ, I'm hoping they're still sticking around. I should have checked their ages before this, but I think they're getting a little bit older. Obviously, we're all getting older. Ain't nobody getting younger, But TJ Neal, Anthony Butler, and Vontae Diggs, I think, should be sticking around. And then just kind of a battle for that 4th linebacker spot between Malik, Shaheed, and Dylan. Moving on to the DBs, we've got DJ Daniel, Kyrie Woods, Ty Smith, Delrick Abrams Jr., Will Likely, Nehemiah Shelton, Mike Stevens, and TJ Green. Expecting about 3 cuts out of this room as well. Coming into the start of the season with about 5 defensive backs. You got to imagine DJ Daniel's going to be there. Stud, all USFL for the Generals. Kyrie Woods was the highest graded PFF player in the entire USFL last year. Definitely hope he's coming back. Ty Smith is from Towson. He was an XFL draft pick by us. Delrick Abrams Jr. was with the team last year. Will Likely is a name that USFL fans from year 1 and XFL fans from the past year will know well. Like his name says, he will likely make a play. All right, whether it's a turnover, whether it's on special teams, Will Likely makes plays. Okay, that's just what he does. You got Nehemiah Shelton, who was a rookie last year for us, played in the last game of the season. Mike Stevens and TJ Green. TJ Green was actually with us last year for about 2 games at the end of the year. Had a solid performance. Definitely left a good taste in our mouth. And like I said, about 3 cuts here. I like the secondary. I like what we can do out here. Moving on to the safeties. See about 2 cuts out of this room. Really excited about that fellow right there, Christian McFarland on the screen. I believe he's been with the Stallions the past 2 years. So if he hasn't been with them the past 2 years, he was definitely with them last year. But all championship pedigree. He knows what winning's like. He's seen what winning's like in this league the past 2 years. You got Quentin Meeks and Antonio Reed, who are both guys from last year with the Boats, as well as Lamont McFadder. Couple new names, Jeray Elder and Antoine Brooks. Jeray Elder was with the Breakers last year. I liked him a lot. Out of this room, going to be keeping about 4 of these guys. I'm thinking Jeray Elder, Christian McFarland are locks for me personally. That's just me. Everybody else kind of fighting for that battle. Oh, no, not that. I went too far. Oh, geez. Well, I thought I had that last slide, guys. But since we don't, let's go full screen for the specialists, okay? No cuts coming out of the specialist room. Of course, I forgot to do their slide because they're special, all right? They deserve something completely different than their own little presentation, right? They're the specialists. So they're the third phase of the game. 3 guys account for the third phase of the game. All right. Matt Coughlin, our kicker, Matthew White, our punter, Turner Bernard, our long snapper. These are all 3 guys that were with Coach Flip last year in New Orleans. Coach Flip came over. He got rid of all the specialists that the Showboats had. Alex Kessman is on the street right now, which is absolutely insane. Brandon Wright, all USFL punter back in 2022, is on the street. Long snapper Ryan Navarro, I believe, was our long snapper. Oh my God. Here I go. Showing my non-ball knowing knowledge, guys. Here we go. But I just want to touch on that one more time. Alex Kessman, okay, he struggled at the beginning of the year. Showboats fans remember, he struggled at the beginning of the year. He got benched for one game. Brandon Wright handled all the kicking duties that game. The next game, and from then on, I believe Alex Kessman only missed 1 field goal after that, or he missed an extra point. I don't think he missed any field goals after that benching, but he did miss an extra point or 2 going down the stretch. But it's just insane when you see a guy like Alex Kessman, cash money Kessman. He was money for us at the end of the year, sitting on the street right now. It's crazy. I got a feeling we should see some moves coming up here soon. Training camp's getting intense. The boys got the pads on. We should be getting a lot of great content, man. Follow your boy. Follow the United Football Media. Go ahead and subscribe here. Get your merch from Vintage Varsity 901. And as always, go Boats, baby.